Hey guys, it's just me today. I wanted to talk about the sources I use for inspiration in planning our trip to Japan. Since I'm the one in charge of planning where we're going to go and what we're going to see, there wasn't much that Jason could add to this conversation. There's four main sources that I use that I find super helpful. The first one is NHK World TV. NHK is one of the main broadcasters in Japan. You can kind of think of it like the BBC in the UK. We don't really have an equivalent here, but it's a major network that has several channels, and NHK World is the one that they broadcast outside of Japan, so it's for non-Japanese speaking people. It's mainly broadcast in English, although there are shows in other languages as well. My favorite show, not just for documentary shows, but for TV in general, is Japanology Plus. Every week they pick a new topic and go in depth, and I've learned so much about Japan over the years. It's fantastic. Some other really great shows that I like to watch are Tokyo Eye, Journeys in Japan, Core Kyoto, Seasoning the Seasons. Really, there's so many. You can watch NHK World live online or on their app. My second go-to source is YouTube. There are literally thousands of videos available about Japan. I like to break that down into two different categories. One is people living in Japan who travel around and show you various places that you might not have heard of or want more information on. And there's also the people who, like myself, travel to Japan and want to give you tips and tricks on the best ways to do that, what you should do, shouldn't do, that sort of thing. Some of my favorite YouTube channels related to Japan include Japan Guide, Only in Japan, Simon and Martina, Rachel and June, Katie and Eric, basically all the people related to Tokyo Creative, such as Abroad in Japan, Charlotte in Japan, Tokyo Lens, Okano TV, Kim Dao. I also really like the planning videos that Cakes with Faces has done. I know I'm probably forgetting a lot of people right now, but I'm doing this off the top of my head. I'll come up with an exhaustive list and put that in a blog post, so check the link. My third source is actually a collection of different forms of visual social media, so that includes Pinterest, Instagram, and Flickr. I'm a very visual person, so whenever I come across something that's new to me that I might want to try out on my own trip, I like to look up other people's pictures as well. When it comes to Flickr and Instagram, I mainly use that for collecting images, and then I move them over to Pinterest. I've been using Pinterest for years. On my personal account, I have over 150 boards, and most of them are all related to Japan. I've started using Pinterest for Japan without Japanese as well, and every single aspect that I want to do for our trip will eventually be up on there. I'm organizing them into different boards based on the areas that I want to visit. So they include things like places to see, things to eat, things to buy. The great thing about these visual sources is that when you find one thing you're interested in, it inevitably links you to hundreds more, and that way you can find things that you might not have heard of otherwise. The only problem with that is now you have to narrow down your list. My fourth and final source is probably the most helpful one, japanguide.com. They have information on thousands of destinations within Japan, and each one has how to get there, what admissions and hours might be, other places in the area might be interested in, as well as maps and pictures. You can make an account and save your destinations in a wish list or places that you've been before. There's also a forum that you can talk to other people to get advice or tips or answer any questions that you might have. I discovered it before our trip in 2015, and it has become indispensable in my planning. For our first trip in 2010, I utilized books like this or like this, but I found that there's only so much information you can pack into a book this thin. That's why I like japanguide.com, because they have so much more information that you could ever fit into a book, and the best part, it's free. So those are the four sources that I use most frequently when I'm looking for inspiration or ideas, and I highly recommend that you check them out as well. Basically, when you're trying to plan a trip to Japan, the best thing that you can do is research. Nobody can do it for you. This is something you have to do on your own, and if you're really interested in going, it should be fun, not a chore. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Mata jikai.